I turned 38 last Thursday. Anna made sure it was a birthday I'd never forget, and honestly, she's right about that part. So here's what happened, and I need to get this out because the past 6 days have been absolutely insane, and I'm still processing how perfectly this played out. Not for her, though. For me. Let me back up a bit. Anna and I have been married for 16 years. We have two kids, Melinda, who's 15, and Joel, who's 13. We live in a decent neighborhood, three-bedroom house that we've been in for about 8 years. I work in logistics coordination, which, yeah, isn't glamorous, but it pays the bills and I'm good at what I do. Anna works part-time at a dental office doing administrative stuff. Normal life, right? That's what I thought too. The week leading up to my birthday was weird. Anna kept smirking at her phone during breakfast, glancing at the kids with these little knowing looks. Melinda and Joel would grin back at her like they were all in on some massive joke. Tuesday morning, I'm pouring coffee and Anna's texting someone. Then she looks up at me and goes, "He's completely clueless about tomorrow." Just loud enough for me to hear. I asked her what she meant and she just smiled and said I'd find out soon enough, that they were planning an epic birthday surprise. Wednesday night, Anna suggested I take a sleeping pill because I'd been stressed lately. Said I needed good rest before my big day. I didn't take it. Something felt off, you know? She seemed too eager, too excited, in a way that didn't match her usual energy about my birthdays. The past few years, she'd barely acknowledged them beyond a card and maybe ordering pizza. Thursday morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. to an empty house. And I mean empty. The couch was gone, the TV was gone, the dining table, the curtains, the kitchen appliances, even the freaking shower curtain from our bathroom. Gone. Every room had been stripped clean except for one thing. My clothes were piled in the middle of the living room floor like garbage. Just my stuff. Everything else that belonged to me, my laptop, my books, my tools from the garage, all of it was gone. The house was completely bare except for those clothes on the floor. My phone buzzed. Text from Anna. "Happy 38th, worthless fool. My gift to you is my freedom from your pathetic existence. Enjoy your special day." I stood there in my empty living room, and I'm not gonna lie, it was surreal. I picked up my phone and started checking social media because I had a feeling this wasn't just between us. I was right. Anna's TikTok, posted 2 hours earlier. She's on a cruise ship with some guy I'd never seen before, both of them holding champagne glasses. Her caption reading, "Finally free. New life. New man. New everything. Some people deserve to be left with nothing." The video had already gotten like 3,000 views. Comments were flooding in from her friends, everyone celebrating her brave choice to leave me. I opened Instagram. Melinda had posted a photo of her and Joel with Anna, all of them smiling on what looked like the same cruise ship. Her caption, "Finally, mom ditched the deadbeat. Hello, new life. Hello, real future." Some dads just don't measure up, and that's okay. We're better off. No more dragging around dead weight. Joel's Snapchat story was even better. He'd posted a video of himself and this new guy, both of them laughing, caption reading, "Mom upgraded from trash to cash. Dad's still nothing but hey, at least we got out." Poor guy probably crying in his empty house LMAO. Then I saw Maureen's Facebook post. Maureen is Anna's best friend. Known her since college. She'd written this whole thing about how proud she was of Anna for finally leaving me. How at 38 years old, I was still working dead-end jobs with no ambition, no drive, nothing to offer. She'd tagged mutual friends, tagged Anna's whole family. 72 comments, all of them agreeing with her. Anna's mother had commented on it. "Thank God my baby girl finally left that waste of space. I told her years ago she married beneath herself. Better late than never. I want you to understand something." I wasn't surprised. I wasn't shocked. I smiled. Because I've been waiting for this for 6 years. See, what Anna doesn't know, what none of them know, is that I've been planning for this exact scenario since 2019. That's when I found out Anna was cheating on me the first time. Different guy back then, some trainer from her gym. I found messages on her iPad, read through months of conversations about how pathetic I was, how she was just waiting for the right time to leave, how she was grooming the kids to see me as this failure so when she finally left they wouldn't want anything to do with me. I confronted her then. She cried, begged, said it was a mistake, that she'd end it. I agreed to work on things because of the kids, but I didn't forget. I started preparing. I opened accounts she didn't know about. I started building connections she wasn't aware of. I documented everything, every message, every conversation, every dismissive comment she made to the kids about me. I played the role of the oblivious husband while I got my pieces in place. And Thursday morning, standing in that empty house, I knew she'd finally done exactly what I'd been waiting for her to do. She'd gone nuclear. She'd burned every bridge publicly. She'd humiliated me in front of everyone we knew, made sure there was no going back, no reconciliation, no sympathy for her. Perfect. I called my lawyer. His name's not important, but he's been on retainer for 3 years now, just waiting. I sent him screenshots of everything. The TikTok, the Instagram posts, the Snapchat, Maureen's Facebook essay, all of it. I told him it was time to move forward with everything we'd prepared. Then I went to work. Yeah, I went to my dead-end job that morning. Because here's the thing nobody bothers to check. I'm not just some logistics coordinator anymore. 3 years ago, I moved into procurement management for a regional distribution company. I coordinate supply chain operations across 6 states. My salary is comfortable. Not rich, but comfortable. Anna never asked about work. She stopped caring about what I did years ago, just assumed I was stuck in the same position making the same money. The house? It's in my name. Bought it before we got married with money from my parents' estate. Anna's name was never on the deed. She doesn't know that because she never bothered to look at the paperwork when we moved in. She just assumed. By Friday morning, I'd already filed for divorce. Emergency hearing scheduled for the following week based on abandonment and parental alienation. My lawyer was already drafting motions regarding the kids, the house, everything. Saturday afternoon, my phone started getting weird calls from numbers I didn't recognize. I didn't answer any of them. Sunday morning, I got a Facebook message request from Anna's sister asking if we could talk, that Anna was trying to reach me, that something had happened with the cruise and with the guy she was with. I left her on read. Monday, I got a call from Maureen. She said Anna really needed to talk to me, that it was urgent, that things had gone wrong. I told her Anna could contact me through my lawyer and hung up. By Tuesday, my lawyer called me laughing. His phone had been flooded with messages. 87 messages over the past 6 days. Anna, her mother, Maureen, Anna's sister, even some cousins I barely know, all of them desperate to get in contact with me. My lawyer said Anna's messages had gone from angry to panicked to begging in the span of about 48 hours. Apparently the guy she's with, his name's Colin, and he'd told her he owned multiple properties and had major investments. Turns out he's staying at an extended stay motel off the highway and works part-time at an auto parts store. The cruise was a 4-day carnival sailing that he'd paid for with a credit card that got declined at one of the ship's bars. Anna had to cover the rest of their onboard charges with her own card, $3,000 worth. The furniture she'd moved out of the house? She'd hired a moving company to put it all in storage. She'd planned to furnish her new place with Colin, except now she's realizing there is no new place with Colin. She's got all our stuff in a storage unit she's paying $400 a month for, and she's currently staying at her mother's house with both kids. But here's where it gets really good. Melinda apparently had a boyfriend. The boyfriend's parents saw her Instagram post about me and told their son he wasn't allowed to date someone who would publicly trash her own father like that. The kid broke up with her Sunday night. Melinda's been freaking out ever since, blowing up my phone with texts that I haven't responded to. Joel's school has a zero-tolerance social media bullying policy. Another parent saw his Snapchat story and reported it to the administration. He's currently suspended pending a disciplinary hearing because mocking your parent online apparently falls under their harassment guidelines. And Maureen? Her husband saw her Facebook post. He called her out in the comments asking why she was so invested in my marriage, whether maybe there was something she wasn't telling him. Now Maureen's dealing with her own relationship drama, and apparently she's been calling Anna screaming about how this is all her fault. Anna wants back in the house. She wants to talk. She wants to explain that it was all a misunderstanding, that she made a mistake, that Colin manipulated her. My lawyer told me she offered to drop the whole thing, to come back and make it work, that we could forget this ever happened. I told him to proceed with everything exactly as planned, because they have no idea what I've actually been building while they've been mocking me, and they're about to find out. Update 1. Okay, so the past week has been absolutely wild, and I need to update you all because this situation has escalated in ways I didn't fully anticipate. Some of you in the comments were asking what happened next, and honestly, I wish I could say things calmed down. They didn't. Wednesday afternoon, 10 days after my birthday, I'm working from home when I hear a car pull into the driveway. I look out the window and it's Anna's mother's SUV. Anna gets out, then Melinda, then Joel. They're carrying bags, like they're planning to move back in. I opened the door before they could knock. Anna looked rough. Her hair wasn't done the way she usually keeps it. She had bags under her eyes, and she was wearing sweatpants, which she never does in public. She tried to smile at me like everything was normal, like she hadn't just publicly destroyed me on social media 10 days ago. She started talking about how we needed to discuss things like adults, how she'd made some mistakes, but we could work through them, how the kids missed their home and their rooms. I told her the house was no longer her residence and she needed to leave. She actually laughed. Not a real laugh, but that condescending one she does when she thinks I'm being ridiculous. She said she lived here for 8 years and she had every right to be inside, that I couldn't just lock her out of her own home. I told her again the house was never hers. It's in my name, bought with my inheritance before we got married. Her name was never on the deed. I watched her face change as that information landed. She said that was impossible, that she'd been paying the mortgage with me all these years so she had equity regardless of whose name was on paper. I explained that there was no mortgage. The house was paid off when I bought it. Her monthly contributions that she thought were going toward a mortgage payment had actually been going into a household expense account that I'd been managing. She got loud then, started yelling about how I'd deceived her, how I'd lied about our financial situation, how she had rights as my spouse regardless of the deed. Melinda was standing behind her looking uncomfortable, and Joel was staring at his phone, not making eye contact with me. Anna demanded to come inside to get more of the kids' things, said they needed their computers and school supplies and winter clothes. I told her everything that belonged to them was already gone because she'd hired movers to take it all. If she wanted their belongings, she could check the storage unit she was paying for. She claimed the movers only took the furniture and shared household items, not the kids' personal property from their rooms. I went back inside and checked their rooms. She was right. Their desks, their gaming systems, their computers, all still there. The movers had apparently only cleared the common areas. Here's where I probably should have handled it differently, but I was done playing nice. I told her she could come back with a police escort during designated hours to collect their belongings, but she wasn't walking into this house like she still lived here. She said I was being petty and cruel, that I was punishing the kids for her mistakes. I said no. I was protecting my property and establishing clear boundaries now that she'd made it explicitly clear we were done. Melinda started crying, real tears, not the fake ones she used to use to get out of chores. She said she just wanted her laptop because she had homework due, and all her files were on it. I looked at her and asked if she'd thought about homework when she posted on Instagram that I was a deadbeat dad who deserved to be abandoned. She didn't have an answer for that. Anna tried a different approach. She got quiet and said we needed to talk privately, adult to adult, that she'd been manipulated by Colin and hadn't been thinking clearly. She said if I just gave her a chance to explain everything face to face, really explain it, I'd understand. I told her she could explain anything she wanted through her lawyer because that's the only communication I was accepting from her. That's when she dropped the bomb that she didn't have a lawyer yet. Couldn't afford one right now because Colin had convinced her to max out her credit cards on the cruise and on deposits for an apartment they were supposedly getting together. She'd paid for everything thinking he'd reimburse her once they got back. He'd stopped answering her calls the day after they returned. So let me get this straight, I said. You left me very publicly, humiliated me in front of everyone we know, took our kids on a cruise with your boyfriend, maxed out your credit cards, and now you're broke and living with your mother, and you want to come back home like nothing happened? She said it wasn't like that she'd made mistakes, but she was still the mother of my children and I couldn't just throw her away. I told her she'd thrown herself away the second she posted that TikTok. Joel finally spoke up. He asked if he could please just get his gaming system because he was bored at his grandmother's house. I asked him if he was still laughing about his trash dad like he'd posted on Snapchat. He mumbled that he didn't mean it like that Mom had told him it would be funny, that everyone would think it was cool. I asked him if his school suspension felt cool. He went quiet again. Anna changed tactics again. She said I was being vindictive and that she understood I was hurt, but keeping the kids from their belongings was abuse. She actually used that word, abuse. I told her she could file a police report if she felt I was withholding their property illegally, but she knew as well as I did that everything in this house was legally mine and I was within my rights to control access to my own property. Her mother called her phone. I could hear her through the speaker asking where they were, telling Anna to just come back and they'd figure something else out. Anna ignored her and kept trying. She said she knew she messed up, but we'd been together for 16 years and that had to count for something. She brought up memories, trips we'd taken, holidays with the kids, all of it. She said she'd been unhappy for a long time, but that didn't mean she didn't love me or our family. I asked her when exactly she'd been unhappy. Was it before or after the gym trainer back in 2019? Her face went white. She hadn't expected me to bring that up. She said that was over years ago and we'd moved past it. I told her I hadn't moved past anything. I'd been preparing for this exact scenario since the day I found those messages on her iPad. Every decision I'd made since then had been calculated specifically for the moment when she'd try to destroy me. She wanted to know what that meant. What had I been preparing? I told her she'd find out through legal channels. Then I closed the door. They stood outside for maybe 20 minutes. I could hear Anna talking to the kids, hear Melinda crying harder. Eventually, they got back in the car and left. An hour later, Anna texted me from a number I didn't recognize. She must have gotten a new phone, or was using someone else's. The message said she was going to get a locksmith and come back to get into the house with or without my permission, that I couldn't keep her from her home. I forwarded the text to my lawyer. He sent her a cease and desist within 2 hours. Thursday, Anna's mother called my office. She somehow got the main company number and asked to speak to me. The receptionist transferred her through before I could stop it. Anna's mother started in on how I was tearing this family apart, how her daughter made one mistake, and I was crucifying her for it, how my children needed stability, and I was denying them that. I told her that her daughter had made multiple mistakes over several years, and that she'd publicly humiliated me with her full support and encouragement. She tried to deny that, said she'd just been supporting Anna through a difficult time. I pulled up her Facebook comment on my phone while we were talking, read it back to her word for word. Thank God my baby girl finally left that waste of space. Her tone changed. She said she'd been emotional and hadn't meant it the way it sounded. I asked her how exactly should I have interpreted her calling me a waste of space. She didn't have an answer. Then she tried to tell me that regardless of everything else, I was keeping children from their mother, and that was wrong. I explained that Anna had abandoned them when she took them on a cruise while emptying my house. She'd made the choice to disrupt their stability, not me. Friday afternoon, Melinda showed up at my workplace. Just walked right into the building during her lunch period from school. Security called me down because she was asking for me at the front desk. She'd been crying again and immediately started apologizing, saying she never should have posted what she did, that she didn't understand how serious it was. She said Mom had told her that posting stuff like that was just what people did during breakups, that it wasn't a big deal, that I'd get over it. I asked her if her boyfriend getting back together with his ex because his parents didn't want him dating her anymore felt like not a big deal. She started crying harder and said it wasn't fair that she was being punished for what Mom did. I told her she was being punished for what she did. She made the choice to post that caption. She made the choice to call me a deadbeat publicly. Those were her decisions. She said she wanted to come home, that living at Grandma's house was terrible, because Grandma kept fighting with Mom and Joel kept getting in trouble and everything was a mess. She said her friends at school had seen her post and now people were treating her differently, asking her if her dad was really that bad, if she really hated him. She said she didn't hate me. She just went along with what Mom wanted. I asked her why she'd gone along with it. She said because Mom had been telling her for years that I wasn't ambitious enough, that I didn't make enough money, that I was holding the family back from having a better life. Mom had shown her pictures of houses her friends lived in, talked about vacations other families took, made her feel like we were barely getting by because I wasn't successful enough. She said she'd believed it because why would Mom lie? This is the part that got me. Melinda asked if it was true that I actually made good money and owned the house. She said Grandma had told Mom I was lying about that to make her look bad. I showed her my last pay stub on my phone. Showed her the property deed I keep a digital copy of. Watched her face as she realized everything her mother had told her was wrong. She asked why Mom would lie about that. I told her she'd have to ask her mother. Then I explained that she couldn't just show up at my workplace, that she needed to go back to school, and that if she wanted to talk, we could arrange something appropriate through proper channels. She begged me not to make her go back to Grandma's house. Said Joel was getting worse, that he'd been talking back to Mom and getting in fights at school before his suspension was even over, that Mom was barely keeping it together. I told her that was between her and her mother, that Anna had made choices and these were the consequences. Melinda left crying, but she went back to school. That evening, my lawyer called. The court date for the emergency hearing had been moved up to Tuesday because Anna's side had contacted the court claiming urgent circumstances regarding the children's welfare. My lawyer said Anna had apparently gotten a legal aid attorney who was arguing that I'd locked the children out of their home and was withholding their possessions. He said it was a weak argument, but we needed to be prepared for her to play the victim hard during the hearing. Saturday, Joel called me from Anna's mother's landline, asked if I'd take him to the skate park like I used to on weekends. I asked him why he thought I'd do that after what he'd posted about me. He said he already apologized and that I was being mean by holding it against him forever. I told him it had been less than 2 weeks. He said that felt like forever and that he was going crazy at Grandma's house with nothing to do. I asked if his mother knew he was calling me. He said no, that Mom was out somewhere with Aunt Maureen. I asked him what he wanted to apologize for specifically. He said for posting that stuff on Snapchat. I asked him if he understood why it was wrong. He said because it got him suspended. I told him that wasn't why it was wrong. He got frustrated and said he didn't know what I wanted him to say. I explained that what he'd posted wasn't just about him getting in trouble, It was about publicly mocking his own father to make his mother's boyfriend look better. I asked him if he thought that was okay. He said Mom told him Colin was going to be their new dad, and that they needed to show they were okay with it. He said Mom had promised that Colin would take them places and buy them stuff, and that their life would be way better. I asked him how that was working out. He said it wasn't and that he was sorry. Then he asked again about the skate park. I told him no. He got upset and said I was being unfair, that he was just a kid and I was the adult, so I should be the bigger person. I told him being the adult meant teaching him that actions have consequences. And his consequence was that he'd destroyed his relationship with me, and it wasn't getting fixed just because he said sorry once. He hung up on me. Sunday morning, I woke up to 6 missed calls from Anna's sister. I didn't call back, but she left voicemails. She said Anna was having a breakdown, that she'd been crying all weekend, that she couldn't afford a place to live and Mom was threatening to kick her out if she didn't get her act together. She said I needed to have mercy and let Anna back into the house at least until she got on her feet. She said the kids needed their mother to be stable, and I was making everything worse by being so cold. I texted back, told her Anna was welcome to get on her feet, just not in my house. Told her Anna had choices and chose to publicly humiliate me while emptying everything I owned from my home. Told her if Anna wanted stability, she should have thought about that before getting on a cruise with Colin. The response I got back wasn't from Anna's sister, it was from Anna using her phone. She said we needed to meet in person, face to face, no lawyers, just the two of us. She said there were things she needed to tell me that would explain everything. She said if I'd just listened to her side without judgment, I'd understand why she did what she did and we could work through this. I told her the only thing I wanted to hear from her was delivered through her attorney at the hearing on Tuesday. She responded with one more message. You're going to regret this. I've protected you from things you don't even know about, and when the truth comes out, you'll wish you'd listened to me. I forwarded that to my lawyer, too. Tuesday's hearing is in 2 days. My lawyer says we're in a strong position, but to expect Anna to make accusations, to try to paint me as controlling or financially abusive. He says to stay calm and stick to facts. I've been calm for 6 years. I can do 2 more days. Update 2. The court hearing was Tuesday morning. I need to get this all out because what happened there opened up a whole new level of chaos that I'm still dealing with. Some of you were messaging asking for updates, and honestly, I appreciate it because writing this out helps me process how completely off the rails this has gotten. I showed up at the courthouse at 8:30 a.m. with my lawyer. Anna was already there with her legal aid attorney, a younger guy who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Anna's mother was with her, along with Maureen. They were all sitting on a bench outside the courtroom, and Anna looked like she'd been up all night. Her mother kept whispering to her, and Anna kept nodding. When we walked past them to check in with the clerk, Anna's mother said loud enough for me to hear that I looked pleased with myself, that I should be ashamed for putting their family through this. My lawyer touched my arm, and we kept walking. Don't engage, he'd told me in the car. Let her dig her own hole. The hearing started at 9 a.m. The judge was a woman in her 50s who looked tired before we even began. Anna's attorney went first, painting this picture of a devoted mother who'd made a mistake in judgment but was now being locked out of her home and separated from her children's belongings. He said I was engaging in economic abuse by controlling access to the marital residence and the children's property. He said Anna had been a homemaker for most of the marriage and had contributed to the household in non-financial ways that gave her equitable interest regardless of whose name was on the deed. My lawyer stood up and calmly presented the deed, showing the house was purchased before the marriage with inheritance money. He showed the utility bills, all in my name. He showed the bank statements for the household account that Anna had been contributing to, proving there was no mortgage payment. Then he pulled up Anna's TikTok on his tablet and played it for the judge. The whole thing. Anna sitting on the cruise ship with Colin, champagne glasses raised. Her caption about finally being free and me deserving nothing. The judge watched it without expression. Then my lawyer showed Melinda's Instagram post, then Joel's Snapchat, then Maureen's Facebook essay, then Anna's mother's comment. He'd printed them all out with timestamps and dates. He explained that Anna hadn't just left the marriage. She'd orchestrated a public humiliation campaign on my birthday while simultaneously removing all shared property from the home. Anna's attorney tried to argue that social media posts made in emotional distress shouldn't be used against her, that people say things online they don't mean. The judge asked Anna directly if she'd posted that content. Anna said yes, but that she'd been manipulated by Colin into thinking it was appropriate, that he'd convinced her I was holding her back, and that publicly declaring her freedom was empowering. The judge asked if Colin had also manipulated her into taking the children on a cruise while cleaning out the house. Anna said she'd wanted the kids to see her being strong and independent. The judge asked her if she considered it strong and independent to max out her credit cards for a man she'd known for 3 months. Anna got flustered and said her financial decisions weren't relevant to the custody issue. The judge said actually they were extremely relevant because they showed judgment and stability. Then the judge asked Anna where she was currently living. Anna said with her mother. The judge asked if that was a stable, long-term arrangement. Anna said it was temporary until she could access the marital home. My lawyer presented the texts Anna had sent threatening to bring a locksmith, the messages to him demanding access, all of it. He explained that Anna had abandoned the residence, taken the children without my knowledge, and was now attempting to force her way back in after publicly ending the marriage. The judge asked Anna's attorney if he had any evidence that I'd been abusive, controlling, or had given Anna reason to fear for her safety. He said no, but that economic control was a form of abuse. The judge asked him to explain what economic control I'd exercised. He said by not telling Anna the house was paid off, I'd created a false narrative about our financial situation. My lawyer objected and said Anna had never asked to see the deed or the financial documents, had never shown interest in the household finances, and couldn't be claiming ignorance as abuse. The judge asked Anna directly when she'd last asked me about our financial situation. Anna said she'd trusted me to handle it. The judge asked if trust meant she'd never once looked at a bank statement or asked to see property documents. Anna said she'd been busy raising children and working her own job and hadn't had time to audit everything. The judge pointed out that she'd had time to plan a cruise and a social media campaign. That's when Anna changed tactics. She said there were things about our marriage I'd been hiding, things that made her actions understandable. The judge asked her to elaborate. Anna said I'd been having an emotional affair with a coworker for over 2 years, that she'd known about it and had stayed quiet to protect the children, but that it had destroyed her trust in me and pushed her toward Colin. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. The judge gave me a look and I apologized, but I was genuinely shocked. My lawyer asked Anna to provide any evidence of this affair. Anna said she didn't have physical evidence, but that she'd seen the way this woman and I interacted at company events, the way we texted constantly, the late nights I claimed to be working. The judge asked if she had copies of these texts. Anna said no because I'd been careful to delete them. My lawyer pulled out my phone records for the past 3 years. He'd subpoenaed them as part of the divorce filing. He showed that my most frequent contacts were Anna, my boss, and 2 male coworkers I coordinated with daily. There was 1 female coworker on the list, Sarah, who I texted maybe twice a month about work projects. The judge asked Anna if Sarah was the woman she was referring to. Anna said yes. The judge asked when Anna had last seen me interact with Sarah. Anna said at the company holiday party 2 years ago. So let me get this straight, the judge said. You're claiming an emotional affair based on interactions you witnessed 2 years ago and text messages you never actually saw. Anna said she knew what she'd seen, that women can tell these things. The judge asked if she'd ever confronted me about this alleged affair. Anna admitted she hadn't because she'd been afraid of what I might do. The judge asked what exactly she thought I might do. Anna said she didn't know, but that I'd been cold and distant for years. My lawyer asked if by cold and distant she meant working full-time and managing household finances while she was pursuing relationships with a gym trainer in 2019 and Colin in 2024. Anna's face went red. She said the gym trainer had been a mistake she'd tried to make up for. My lawyer asked if she'd tried to make up for it by planning an exit strategy with Colin while telling the children their father was worthless. Anna's attorney objected and said we were getting off track. The judge said, actually, this was very much on track because it established a pattern of behavior. Then the judge asked me directly if I'd ever had an affair, emotional or otherwise. I said no. The judge asked if I had any interest in Sarah beyond professional. I said no, that Sarah was married with 3 kids and we worked on logistics coordination together. The judge asked if Anna had any actual evidence of improper behavior. Anna's attorney said no, but that absence of evidence wasn't evidence of absence. The judge looked at him like he'd just said something profoundly stupid. Then she asked Anna why she'd really left. Anna started crying. She said she'd been unhappy for years, that I'd never made enough money to give her the life she wanted, that she'd watched her friends take vacations and buy nice things while we stayed in the same house doing the same things. She said Colin had promised her excitement and adventure and a better life. She said she'd believed him, and when she realized he'd lied, she'd panicked, and that's why she was trying to come back. The judge asked her if she understood that marriage wasn't a backup plan you return to when your first choice didn't work out. Anna said she understood that now, but that she'd made a mistake and people deserve second chances. The judge asked her if she thought I deserved a second chance after she'd publicly called me worthless on my birthday. Anna said that was different because I'd emotionally neglected her for years. My lawyer presented screenshots of messages between Anna and Colin going back 8 months. He'd gotten them from Anna's cloud backup that she'd apparently never secured properly. The messages showed Anna complaining about me, calling me boring and unambitious, talking about how she couldn't wait to leave. Colin had encouraged her, told her she deserved better, made promises about the life they'd have together. In several messages, Anna had sent him photos of the house, the furniture, had discussed which items were worth taking. She'd literally planned the entire thing with him. The judge read through them silently. Then she asked Anna if she'd like to revise her statement about Colin manipulating her. Anna said he had manipulated her by making false promises. The judge said it looked more like they'd collaborated on a plan that fell apart when Colin's lies became obvious. Anna's attorney tried to argue that his client's poor judgment in choosing a partner didn't make her an unfit mother. The judge agreed. She said Anna was clearly not an unfit mother, but that she'd made choices that demonstrated poor judgment and a disregard for the children's emotional well-being. She said the social media posts alone showed a willingness to prioritize Anna's desires over the children's need for stability and respect for both parents. She said that Anna had abandoned the marital residence and removed community property without discussion or agreement. She said that my ownership of the house was clear and that Anna had no legal right to force entry or demand residence there. Then she addressed custody. She said the children would remain in their current living situation with Anna for now, but that I would have reasonable visitation rights starting immediately. She said Anna needed to facilitate access to the children's belongings and that we would work out a schedule for me to retrieve those items from the house. She said Anna was prohibited from making any further disparaging statements about me on social media or encouraging the children to do so. She said we'd reconvene in 30 days for a full custody hearing once she'd ordered a home study and guardian ad litem evaluation. Anna looked like she'd been slapped. Her attorney asked about temporary spousal support. The judge asked what Anna's current income was. Anna said she made about $1,500 a month at the dental office. The judge asked about her expenses. Anna said she was paying for storage, for her portion of expenses at her mother's house, for the kids' needs. The judge asked why she was paying for storage instead of just returning the items to the house where they belonged. Anna said because I wouldn't let her into the house. The judge said that was because she'd removed them without permission in the first place and that the storage fees were a consequence of her own choices. No temporary support. The judge said Anna had income and family housing, and that I'd demonstrated no obligation to support her after she'd publicly ended the marriage and attempted to start a new relationship. Anna started crying harder. Her mother stood up in the gallery and said this was discrimination against women, that the system was designed to protect men and punish women for wanting happiness. The bailiff told her to sit down or leave. She sat. We left the courtroom, and Anna's mother was in the hallway, ranting to Maureen about how the judge was biased, how they needed to appeal, how this was outrageous. Maureen looked exhausted. She saw me and actually looked away. Anna walked past without making eye contact, her attorney guiding her toward the exit. That was Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, I got a text from Melinda asking if she could meet me at the grocery store near her school during her lunch period. She said she needed to talk and couldn't do it at Grandma's house because Mom was always there. I said yes, but asked why the grocery store. She said because it was public and close to school, and she only had 40 minutes. I met her there at noon. She was waiting by the produce section looking nervous. We walked while we talked, and she explained that things had gotten really bad at Anna's mother's house. Anna had come back from court crying and hadn't stopped since. She'd told Melinda and Joel that I'd lied to the judge, that I'd made her look like a terrible person, that the judge was on my side because I'd manipulated everyone. She'd told them I was trying to turn them against her. Melinda said she didn't know what to believe anymore. She said Mom kept changing the story, first saying Colin had manipulated her, then saying she'd been unhappy, then saying I'd been having an affair, which Melinda said she knew wasn't true because she'd met Sarah at a work thing once, and Sarah had talked about her kids the whole time. Melinda said Joel was acting out worse, that he'd gotten in a fight with another kid at school before his suspension was even fully over, that Grandma was threatening to make them go stay with their aunt if they couldn't behave. She asked if she could come live with me. Just her, not Joel. She said Joel still believed everything Mom said, but that she'd figured out Mom had been lying about a lot of things. I told her that custody was complicated and that the judge had ordered evaluations before making permanent decisions. She said she didn't want to wait that long, that every day at Grandma's house was miserable. She said Mom was barely functioning, sleeping until noon, ignoring phone calls from work, just sitting on the couch looking at her phone. I asked if Anna's job knew what was going on. Melinda said mom had called in sick for 3 days after the cruise and then had been late twice since then. She said she'd heard Grandma on the phone with someone from the dental office, and it sounded like they were fed up with Mom. I asked if Anna was looking for other work. Melinda laughed and said Mom was barely getting out of bed, let alone job hunting. Then Melinda told me something that explained a lot. She said Mom had been convinced that I'd take her back because I always had before. She said Mom had told her that I was predictable, that I'd be mad for a while, but would eventually cave because I hated conflict and always wanted to keep the family together. She said Mom had literally planned on the house being stripped and me being angry and then her coming back a week later with apologies and me accepting it because that's what I did. I asked Melinda where she'd gotten that idea. Melinda said because that's what happened with the gym trainer thing. Mom had told her about it last year, said she'd messed up, but Dad had forgiven her because he knew breaking up the family would be worse. Melinda said Mom had been confident this would work the same way, that I'd be hurt but would eventually prioritize the kids over my pride, except I hadn't, and Anna had no backup plan. Melinda said Mom was panicking now because she couldn't afford her own place, couldn't afford to keep paying for storage, couldn't move back to the house, and was stuck at Grandma's house being reminded daily that she'd screwed up. She said Grandma kept saying Anna had ruined a good thing by being greedy and stupid. She said the tension was constant and Joel was getting worse because of it. I asked about Joel specifically. Melinda said he was angry all the time now, that he'd destroyed his friendship with his best friend over something stupid, that he was failing 2 classes because he wasn't doing homework, that he blamed me for everything because Mom kept telling him this was my fault. She said Joel had asked when Colin was coming back because Colin had promised to take him to a basketball game. I asked when Anna had told him Colin wasn't coming back. Melinda said she hadn't, that she just kept saying soon, that Joel still thought Colin was his mom's boyfriend. We walked through the store and Melinda picked up random items while we talked, putting them back. She said she wished none of this had happened, that she wished Mom had just been happy with what we had. She said she'd looked at our house on a real estate site and seen what similar houses were worth, and realized we'd actually been doing fine. That Mom's complaints about money had been about wanting luxury, not about actual need. She apologized again for the Instagram post. Said she'd deleted it, but that people had screenshot it and she couldn't take it back. She said her best friend's mom had asked her about it, had said it seemed cruel to post something like that about family. Melinda said she'd tried to explain, but realized there was no explanation that made it okay. She said she'd lost respect from people and didn't know how to get it back. I told her that respect was earned through consistent behavior over time, that she couldn't undo the post, but she could demonstrate better judgment going forward. She asked if I'd forgive her eventually. I said eventually wasn't now, and that we'd see how things developed. She looked disappointed, but nodded. She had to get back to school. I gave her $20 for lunch and she left. I finished my own shopping and went home. Thursday, Anna called me directly. Not texted. Called. I answered because I was curious what she'd say now that the court had ruled. She asked if we could meet somewhere private to talk. I asked why. She said because she needed to explain some things that she couldn't say in court. Things about why she'd really made the choices she did. I asked what those things were. She said she couldn't tell me over the phone. I said then she couldn't tell me at all. She got frustrated and said I was being impossible, that if I'd just give her 1 hour of my time she could make me understand everything. I asked her what there was to understand beyond her wanting a different life and making a plan to get it. She said it was more complicated than that. I told her complicated or not, we were done. She said we weren't done until the divorce was final, and that she could make that process as difficult or as easy as I wanted. I asked if she was threatening me. She said no. She was trying to save what was left of our family. I said there was nothing left to save. She said the kids needed both parents working together. I said the kids needed to see that actions have consequences. She got quiet. Then she said I'd changed, that I wasn't the person she'd married. I told her I'd become the person she'd tried to destroy. She asked what that meant. I said she'd spent years undermining me to our children, lying about our finances, planning her exit, all while thinking I'd be too weak to fight back. I said her mistake was assuming I was the same person who'd forgiven her in 2019. She said she'd tried to make up for that. I said she'd tried to hide it and wait for the next opportunity. She asked how long I'd been planning this. I told her since the day I found the messages with the gym trainer. She said that was 6 years of lying, of pretending things were fine. I said that was 6 years of preparing for when she'd try again. She said that was calculating and cold. I said it was self-preservation. Then she said something that caught me off guard. She said Colin had contacted her asking for the money she owed him. I asked what money. She said he'd given her cash for some of the cruise expenses and she'd promised to pay him back. She said he was threatening to take her to small claims court if she didn't pay. I asked how much. She said $3,000. I laughed. I couldn't help it. She'd maxed her credit cards, paid for a cruise with a guy who then asked her to reimburse him, and now he wanted his money back after ghosting her. She said it wasn't funny, that she didn't have $3,000. I said that sounded like her problem. She said if he sued her, it would look bad for custody. I said maybe she should have thought of that before getting involved with him. She hung up. Friday afternoon, my lawyer called. He said Anna's attorney had reached out asking about property division, said Anna wanted to negotiate rather than litigate. My lawyer asked what I wanted to do. I told him to proceed with litigation. He asked if I was sure because it would cost both of us more money. I said I was sure. He said Anna's attorney had hinted that Anna might be willing to give up claims to certain items if I'd agree to a faster settlement. I asked what items. He said probably the furniture and storage, some of the household goods, stuff like that. I told him I wanted it all back. Every piece of furniture, every dish, every item she'd taken. He said that would drag things out. I said good. He asked if I was trying to punish her or protect my assets. I said both. The Guardian ad litem evaluation is scheduled for next week. The home study is the week after. Anna has to show that she can provide a stable environment for the kids. Right now, she's in her mother's house with no long-term plan, debt she can't pay, and a job she's about to lose if Melinda's right about what she overheard. I own my house outright, have stable income, and have already set up the kids' rooms exactly as they were. The evaluator is going to see that difference. And Anna is finally going to understand that the life she tried to destroy was better than anything she's going to build from where she is now. Final update. It's been a month since my last update, and everything has finally resolved. The evaluations happened, the custody hearing happened, and Anna's complete breakdown happened. Watching this unfold exactly as I'd planned for 6 years has been something else. The Guardian ad litem came to my house first. She walked through everything, saw the kids' rooms set up perfectly, saw my office, my stocked kitchen. I showed her pay stubs, bank statements, character references. She asked about the social media posts. I pulled them all up on my tablet. Melinda's Instagram calling me a deadbeat. Joel's Snapchat about trash versus cash. Anna's TikTok. She asked how that made me feel. I told her humiliated, angry, and determined to show my kids that publicly destroying someone has consequences. Wednesday, she went to Anna's mother's house. Melinda told me later what happened. The house was cramped with Anna, both kids and Anna's mother in a 3-bedroom place. The kids were sharing a converted office with 2 twin beds crammed in. Their stuff was mostly in bags. The Guardian asked Anna about employment. Anna admitted she'd been fired from the dental office for excessive absences. She said she was looking but hadn't found anything. The Guardian asked about housing plans. Anna said she needed money for deposits but didn't have it because of storage fees and credit card debt. The Guardian asked why she didn't return the furniture to the house. Anna said because I wouldn't let her in, and she couldn't afford movers anyway. According to Melinda, the Guardian asked her and Joel separately about their preferences. Melinda said she wanted to live with me, that she missed having her own room and felt anxious at Grandma's house with constant tension. Joel said he wanted things back how they were, wanted Colin to return, wanted Mom to be happy. The Guardian asked how he felt about me. Joel said he didn't know anymore, that everyone was saying different things. The home study report came out Friday. The summary was clear. My home provided stability, adequate space, financial security. Anna's housing was unstable, overcrowded, dependent on strained family support. The recommendation was primary physical custody to me with visitation for Anna once she established stable housing and employment. Now about the 87 messages my lawyer mentioned. This is where Anna's desperation showed, and where everyone who'd humiliated me realized they'd backed the wrong person. It started the day after the first hearing. Anna texted my lawyer saying she needed to talk to me, that there were circumstances I didn't understand. My lawyer said all communication goes through proper channels. Anna sent 3 more messages that day. Then Anna's mother sent 5 messages over 2 days. Then Maureen sent 2. Then Anna's sister sent 7 messages over 3 days. Then 2 cousins. Then someone claiming to be Anna's coworker. Then someone claiming to be a friend of Anna's mother. And Anna kept messaging my lawyer, 12 more over a week. She went from asking for conversation to begging for financial help with storage to offering to sign over everything to threatening complaints to crying about mistakes to saying I was punishing the children. My lawyer counted 87 total messages from various people over 3 weeks. He responded to none except one form reply about harassment. Anna tried reaching me directly too. 4 different phone numbers, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I blocked everything. She tried using Melinda as messenger. I told Melinda every time I'd only talk to her mother in court. The final custody hearing was Thursday. I showed up with my lawyer and 3 boxes of documentation. Everything from 6 years. The 2019 messages with the gym trainer. Screenshots of Anna's dismissive comments about me. Messages between Anna and Colin planning the house clearing. Bank statements. Social media posts. Character references. Anna showed up with her legal aid attorney and her mother. No boxes. No documentation. She looked worse than before. Same unwashed outfit from the week prior. The judge reviewed everything and asked Anna about stable housing. Anna said applications were pending. The judge asked about employment. Anna said interviews were scheduled. The judge asked if she'd had any actual interviews in 3 weeks. Anna admitted no. The judge asked about the social media posts. Anna said she'd taken them down. The judge asked if she understood the impact. Anna said she'd been in a bad place but loved her children. The judge pulled up Melinda's Instagram post and asked if Anna had approved it. Anna said yes, that at the time she'd thought it was fine. The judge asked if Anna thought it was appropriate for a 15-year-old to publicly call her father a deadbeat. Anna said when she'd approved it, she'd believed it was accurate. My lawyer presented the 2019 messages between Anna and the gym trainer, planning to leave, positioning herself with the kids, checking divorce entitlements. The judge asked if these were authentic. Anna said yes, but that was years ago. The judge said it established a pattern. My lawyer presented my journal from 2019 forward. 6 years of documentation showing Anna's pattern of undermining me. The judge asked why I'd stayed. I said because I wanted to be prepared when she tried again and wanted my kids to see who their mother really was. The judge asked if that wasn't manipulative. I said it was strategic. She asked the difference. I said manipulation is making someone do something they don't want. Strategy is preparing for something you know is coming. My lawyer showed messages between Anna and Colin planning the house clearing. 8 months of messages. Anna complaining about me, Colin making promises, planning which furniture to take. Anna joking about me waking to an empty house. Colin saying it would be hilarious. They'd timed it for my birthday specifically because Anna said it would be poetic. The judge asked Anna if she'd really thought destroying my sense of security on my birthday was hilarious. Anna said she'd been angry and not thinking clearly. The judge asked what she'd been angry about. Anna said years of feeling undervalued. The judge asked for specifics. Anna said I'd worked late frequently. The judge asked if that was job requirements. Anna admitted yes, but it still affected her. The judge awarded me primary physical custody effective immediately. Anna would have supervised visitation every other weekend, once she established stable housing and employment. Until then, 2 hours at a family services center. The children's belongings would remain at my house. Anna had 30 days to return the furniture from storage or forfeit it. Anna started crying. Her attorney asked for reconsideration. The judge said the children had already been traumatized by Anna's choices and stable environment was priority. She said Anna's actions demonstrated poor judgment and until addressed through stable employment, housing, and counseling, supervised visitation was necessary. The judge told Anna directly that social media has consequences, that publicly humiliating your spouse and encouraging children to do the same has consequences, that Anna had treated her marriage as disposable and was now discovering it wasn't easy to rebuild, that Anna had burned bridges publicly and was surprised to find herself isolated. I drove to Anna's mother's house with the court order. Anna read it and said she needed time to say goodbye. I said the judge had made her decision. Melinda came down with bags already packed. Joel refused initially, but came down 20 minutes later furious. The drive home was tense and quiet. Friday, the storage facility called. Anna had asked for an extension. They said if she didn't pay by 5 p.m., they'd auction everything. She'd given them my number. I said I had no responsibility for her unit. Anna texted from a new number begging me to pay. I said per the court order she had 30 days to return items or forfeit them. She called crying, saying she couldn't believe I'd let everything get auctioned. I said if she wanted to prevent it, she should pay her bill. She said I was vindictive. I said I was fair. She said this wasn't the man she married. I said that man didn't exist anymore because she'd spent 6 years trying to destroy him. She said she'd made mistakes, but didn't deserve this. I asked what she deserved. She said compassion and understanding. I asked where mine had been when she posted that TikTok. She said she'd apologized. I said only because her plan fell apart. She asked what I wanted from her. I said nothing. I wanted her to live with consequences the same way she'd expected me to. She said I was cruel. I said I was being exactly as kind as she'd been on my birthday. Saturday, the unit went to auction. Monday, a liquidation company called asking if I wanted to purchase anything back. I sent them the court order and original receipts proving ownership. They released everything for $300 moving cost. Anna had paid over $1,600 in storage fees just to lose it all. Joel's been difficult, barely speaking, staying in his room. Melinda's doing better, helping around the house, grades improving. She asked if she could repair things with her ex's family. I said probably not, that some things can't be taken back. She said she wished she'd learned differently. I said important lessons aren't comfortable. Anna's first supervised visitation is Saturday. Melinda will go. Joel said he won't, but the court order requires it. Maureen's marriage is in shambles too. Her husband found messages about her own affair. Turns out her defense of Anna was projection. Anna's mother called once asking if I was happy. I said I was exactly where I'd planned to be for 6 years. She said I'd destroyed her daughter's life. I said her daughter tried to destroy mine and failed. Colin took Anna to small claims court. She didn't show up. She owes him $3,000 she doesn't have. She's working retail, making $1,200 monthly, still at her mother's house. Applications went nowhere, credit destroyed. Everything she tried to take came back. The house, the furniture, primary custody, my reputation. Everyone watched her fall apart while I stayed steady. For 6 years, I'd been building a foundation she couldn't shake, documenting everything, advancing my career, keeping my house structured, preparing for when she'd try to destroy me publicly. Anna thought she was executing a brilliant plan. What she actually did was trigger something I'd been waiting 6 years to deploy. She called me worthless on my birthday for thousands to see. Now she's in her mother's spare room with supervised visitation while I have my house, my kids, my career, my dignity. I'm 38. I own my home. I have my children. And Anna has exactly what she gave me. Nothing.